Good evening, and welcome to another World of Warships video with Captain Darkwing Glacier. In this battle, I am taking out my Tier 7 American battleship, the USS Colorado. Now, the Colorado tends to get a bad rap from a lot of players because it is painfully slow and has terrible acceleration. Its top speed is only 21 knots. Compared to the other battleships at its tier, for example, the Gneisenau or the Nagato, they definitely can outrun this ship. In fact, there are very few ships that cannot outrun this at its tier. Actually, I don't know if there's any. But the point is that the Colorado makes up for this because it has very good torpedo protection and very good armor. It also has 8 16-inch guns, which are approximately the same caliber as the Nagatos, and they have very good dispersion, so they are very long-ranged. But I'm not convinced that this ship should be used as a sniper battleship, because its guns are most effective when you're closer than 14 kilometers from the enemy. And also, while it certainly doesn't have the best secondaries for Tier 7, it does have, a fair secondaries, and it's much better than the New Mexico's, for example. But one of the things that changes when you get to Tier 7 is that if you get manual control for the secondary armament skill, at Tier 6 and below, it gives you a 15% reduction in dispersion. However, once you get to Tier 7 and above, that suddenly jumps to a 60% decrease in the dispersion of your secondaries. So all of a sudden, that skill goes from being pretty much useless to a very big, or having a very big effect. So a while ago, I tried out like a secondary build with the Colorado, and I was surprised at how well it did, because what happened is that very many enemies seemed to get very close to the Colorado, thinking they can outmaneuver it, and my secondaries ended up giving them, I wouldn't say like a nasty surprise, and then it just started blowing away enemies left and right, but it did get the job done a few times, and I got more than one close quarters experts. And there was a game a long time ago that I ended up getting 6 kills in my Colorado, which was at that time the best game I had gotten in any ship that I owned. So here I get kill number 1, but using my main gun. So, but back to what I was saying, the Colorado in that game, I ended up in a battle. It was 3-on-1. I was the last remaining ship in my team, and I had multiple targets to focus on. There was a Congo and 2 enemy cruisers. I forget which ones, because this was a while ago. And in any event, I dealt with the Congo with my main guns, and my secondaries were just peppering away at the other 2 cruisers, which were by then relatively low health. And I got lucky. I ended up killing all 3, and that was that pretty much opened up a space in my heart for the Colorado for all time, because it was tough. It did very well in those close quarters, and was maneuverable enough for me to dodge some torpedoes. So I was pretty excited about that game. So I wanted to take the Colorado out again. I hadn't played it in a long time, but now I have my 19-point Massachusetts captain driving it, and so now it's a complete secondary build, and we'll see how that does anything at this point. The Colorado is also very tanky with its good armor, so I've got 2 fires now, and I don't think I just realized that now. So I kick off my repair. I'm targeting the enemy shores here, and he's relatively close. He's at 10.5 kilometers. So waiting for those guns to reload. I don't think I quite gave him enough lead. Yeah, and I overshot a tiny bit, so I only get 2 overpens. And the thing is that I'm kind of overextended a little bit. I have the rest of my team on this flank are all behind me, essentially, so I'm gonna have to tank a lot of fire from these guys. Unfortunately, no one is within my secondary range yet, because I do have the secondary mod and advanced firing training, so that extends my secondary range to 7.6 kilometers. Now, just because I do have a secondary build, that doesn't mean you should, or if you decide to try this, I do not recommend just going up against a Nagato or a Gneisenau or Scharnhorst or something like that with the express purpose of brawling them. But your main guns should be able to do a heck of a lot of damage to them as you close the distance, and if you end up getting within the 7.6 kilometers, you'll get, you know, some assistance from those secondaries more than you would otherwise. So in that sense, you'll enjoy having them when they're needed. And in any event, the Colorado is so damn slow that you're going to have a hard time trying to close the distance with a lot of those ships anyway. But if you end up in a jam, they can definitely help out. So there, my main guns are able to take out a Pensacola. I'm waiting for my heal to come back, and I kick that back up, so that'll get me to approximately 50% health. So I've got 2 kills so far. And I'm looking for my next target. It looks like the Shores might be poking his nose out here. He doesn't seem to be aware of me, or he's certainly not acting like he's aware. And he may end up paying for that with his life. Oh, he is actually, in fact, turning away. I kick off my spotter plane. One of the disappointing things about the Colorado is it does only have 8 guns. And so that means you have to make your shots count, but it's kind of mitigated a little bit by its lower dispersion than many other battleships. And there I was lucky to get a shot that gets me kill number 3. If the Colorado had 12 16-inch guns, it would be pretty awesome. So, oh, here's a Königsberg. He's heading away from me. I get 1 penetrating hit and 2 overpens. If my heal ever comes back, you know, I'll get up to almost 3/4 of my health back. The Königsberg is undoubtedly launching torpedoes, or at least thinking about it. So I have to be aware of that. Waiting for my guns to reload. Shots out. And I completely whiff. That was not my gun's fault, that was definitely my poor aim. So at this point, with only the Scharnhorst visible in the enemy base, oh, actually there is another ship, excuse me, the Omaha, but I think I can handle him easily enough. With only the Scharnhorst in the base and the Omaha, and now nope, he survived. In any event, I can move into that base and try to take it. Now I am within secondary range, so I designate him. Waiting for my guns to reload. And I get close quarters expert, so in fact, it was a secondary that took him out before my main gun shell hit him. And now here's the Scharnhorst. He's probably got his hands full at this point, so he may or may not be shooting his torpedoes at me, but I have to assume that he does get them off. And he exposes way too much broadside to me, and fortunately survives that one, but he's not going to survive another salvo, I don't think. I'll wait till my guns reload, and that's Kraken Unleashed, kill number 5. And at this point, I noticed the Moss in front of me, and he just torpedoed the crap out of our destroyer. But that means he doesn't have any torpedoes to launch at me. So he's thinking at this point, if I hug him really close... Oh, actually he did have more torpedoes, excuse me. But fortunately I don't get hit by those. I line up my rear 2 turrets. He's trying to get awfully close. And goodbye, Mr. Moss. So that, I have to admit, that was pretty satisfying. So the next target is the York, and I'm in pretty good shape. I just took another hit, but I'm at 38,000 health. And I'm feeling pretty confident at this point. I just have to maneuver so I can actually take this guy on, because I'm awfully close to this island, so I've slowed down to 1/4 speed, and I'm trying to make this turn without running aground. There's also an enemy New York there, and since I am pretty well angled at this point, I'm not at all concerned about him. I mean, he only has, what, 12-inch guns? So the York is providing great broadside. So this should just citadel the crap out of him, and nope, just one overpen. So I don't know what the heck happened to RNG there. But now the York is able to turn away, which kind of stinks. But he is within secondary range. My secondaries, while they're firing awfully slow, are doing some damage to him. Here come the torpedoes. Lands right on the belt. Fortunately, I'm out of heals by this point. So I'm thinking, ugh, another complete whiff with the main guns. I think that was more my fault because he turned, or his fault in that he turned away at the last second, causing my shells to fall short. But things aren't looking as good as I thought they were, but I was just thinking, I just gotta get one good hit on this York, and then I can just finish him off, and then I'll move on to the New York. But I do take a hit here, which reduces my health even further. I do kick off the repair to stop the flood. I get the Confederate award. My secondaries are causing some damage to this guy, but he's not dying. And it's getting more and more frustrating by the minute. So I'm keeping my bow pointed towards the New York and trying to tank any shells he's firing at me, but I'm really low on health at this point and I'm getting whittled down. So more shots on the York, and that's awfully frustrating. They all fall short again. If they're just a tiny bit closer to him, and there we go, 2 more shots that fall short. And here I am shaking my fist at RNG for that happening, or maybe it was just my poor aim in that all of those salvos were falling too short. But yeah, I got 6 kills. I was excited. I wanted to get 7 and maybe even 8 after that. But it shows you that Colorado is a tough ship, and it's not to be underestimated. So I hope you will rethink playing it again if you don't like it that much. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.